Your home away from home. Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Now, as much as we appreciate our regular callers, there is one person we would really love to hear from. A man many of us owe our lives to. Our national hero, the Mars mission pilot who brought us here safely so many years ago. Believe it or not, he finally made it back to Earth. After all these years, his dream finally came true. As we all know, he's had a very difficult time adapting to life here on Mars. We all have, just not in the public eye like him. So Charlie, this is Radio Nostalgia from Mars, personally reaching out to you. Charlie, we'd really appreciate it if you took some time to share a bit of the atmosphere from Earth with us. I'm sure many of our listeners are eager to hear your thoughts on being back. Just speak into the mic in your helmet. A few recorded words. Anything.
Well, it's worth a shot. I know he's the biggest fan of Radio Nostalgia from Mars, and he's probably listening now from a rooftop somewhere in Alphaville. So stay tuned to see if he responds. But to be honest, I don't think we'll be hearing from him anytime soon, sadly. Oh well, who can blame him? Let's not spoil his moment any longer. Continue our own trip down memory lane.
Home away from home. Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Surveillance love song, an oldie, but a goodie. Sophie Jazz reminding us that love remains as complicated as ever, despite our patented matchmaking algorithms and genetic profiling. On the subject of complications, the Mars Time Conglomerate has asked me to mention that even though a Mars sol is 40 minutes longer than a day on Earth, you do not have to manually add 40 minutes to your clocks every sol. We are officially on Mars clock time, so every second, minute and hour across all systems and devices are 2.7% longer by design. I know it's confusing at first, but just keep time as usual. For all practical purposes, we live a 24-hour day up here, just like we did on Earth.
Слушайте Radio Nostalgia sa Marsa.
Okay, on with the show. Well, we've had a few requests for some classical music, and boy do I have a double treat for all you classical and vinyl lovers out there. A genuine record playing off an actual record player on loan from a dedicated RNFM fan. So grab a tube of OMAS, sit back and enjoy some chill neoclassical vibes with that warm vinyl sound right here on Radio Nostalgia from Mars.
take a moment, relax, and remember, with Radio Nostalgia,
Muzika iz starih dobrih dana. Radio nostalgije sa Marsa.
From neoclassical to electronica, we really do have it all here on Radio Nostalgia from Mars. First we heard an original vinyl with music from an unknown composer, lost to time, I'm afraid. All I can say is it's a white label test pressing found in a recycling bin with just the word Aftermath written across the label. After that we got the blood pumping with an upbeat tune from Polytet AD and their classic tune, Do You Love Me? Want to keep that blood pumping? Remember, exercise is mandatory. No groans, no bones. And mental exercise is just as important, so get on down to your local rec center for a dose of mentally stimulating team activities and some delicious OMAS. Okay, on to our next caller for the show. Mani reminds us that one person's pleasure is another person's pain, and that we might not all relax in the same way to the same things.
Radio Nostalgia from Mars.
I'd go back in a heartbeat. Tesla City is unbearable. As far as I'm concerned, this promised land is anything but a dictatorship without oxygen. All these daily routines and protocols about everything we took for granted on Earth were so exhausting. Is it safe to take off your hazmat to breathe? Is the water distilled from all our urine really safe? And exactly what behavior will trigger a social credit demotion? Not to mention, every sneeze is suspect. The whole dome has to be sanitized if someone even sniffles. You'd think we figured it out during the pandemics. I know social distancing up here is impossible, but how freaking difficult is it to keep your hands clean and just not sneeze on stuff? Anyway, maybe that's humanity in a nutshell. After all, we walked on the moon before really learning to walk on Earth. I digress. I just want to say that the effort put into maintaining basic life functions in this state-of-the-art society outweighs the benefit of being alive. Use your head, can't you? Use your head. You're on Earth, there's no cure for that. Sam Beckett wrote that in Endgame. We're not cured, regardless of what our de facto overlords claim. It's ironic that the only thing we managed to export culturally onto another planet is a Silicon Valley brand of Protestantism. Sorry for rambling. Anyway, I called into the program to share some Earth sounds I captured. I'm sure listeners of RNFM who suffer from nostalgia like me will appreciate them. In the meditation dome, we can listen to the light sounds of the Tuscan country, the olive grove shores of Kefalonia, the blue Danube below the Schwarzwald. I went to the meditation dome a few times, but just like yoga, I can't stand it. Simply, I don't miss nature at all. I was never a nature person, never really liked hiking or camping. I miss the city. This whole predicament started because we mixed with wilderness in the first place. This bullshit about Mother Nature sugarcoated the fact that maybe we were supposed to keep a sharp boundary between ourselves and the wild. And now, we're demoted from Earthling to miserable Martian status. So at the end of every day, soul, I escape into texts I brought along. I drink that horrid canteen coffee and listen to urban sounds I recorded 15 years ago, mostly in New York and London. Here are some of my favorite sounds. Here's the sound of my bicycle rolling down the street. Sound of the bustling city in the morning, a call and response of cars and birds. And the giggling of my kids in Washington Square as a group of street performers play the boombox and do tricks. kettle going off and the smell of Turkish coffee. And for some reason, I'm obsessed with the sound of the New York MTA.
Nehmen Sie sich einen Moment Zeit. Entspannen Sie sich und erinnern Sie sich mit Radionostalgie vom Mars.
の第二の故郷ラジオノスタルジア from Mars.
Thank you, Manya, for sharing both your thoughts and your favorite sounds with us. That MTA recording actually got me digging into my proverbial record crate because it reminded me of this old track from my DJing days back on Earth called Tokyo 320, a minimal tech house homage to life in the commute and traveling while standing still. Wonderful stuff. Not so wonderful, though, is a spate of ecoplastic stockpiling occurring in sectors 7 through 12 after rumors of a pending shortage. Guys, located kiosks around Tesla City, so there's simply no need to hoard any ecoplastic items. In fact, hoarding them deprives the 3D printers of the recyclable material they need to make them freely available. So your stockpiling is kind of defeating the point of renewable resources. There's a 14-sol grace period to return all parts not in use. No questions asked. Besides, however much you hold on, there's just one thing you can't stockpile.
Twój dom daleko od domu. Radio Nostalgia z Marsa.
Stockpiled on water, stockpiled on soap, stockpiled on blankets, stockpiled on coal, stockpiled on rice, stockpiled on rubble, stockpiled on things, stockpiled on certain, stockpiled on wine, stockpiled on love, but I cannot stockpile on love, stockpile on love, stockpile on love, stockpile on love, stockpiled on books, stockpiled on gas, Stop out on scotch, but I cannot stop out on love. 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 Stop out on love.
Katerina Peak there, reminding us that all the good things in the world are no substitute for love. So, if you've recently matched with someone via our repopulation program and you've received a date for your first meetup, don't forget to add it to your mandatory diary. There does seem to be some confusion about scheduling based on the new double month standard, but it's really quite simple, guys. There are now 24 months in our year, and there are 2 of each month, January 1 and January 2, February 1 and February 2, and so on. Each month is now 28 sols long, except for every 6th month, which is 27 sols long. I hope that clears up the situation. Any further queries, in writing please, can be submitted directly to the Mars Coalition for the simplification of the Martian calendar.
Radio Nostalgia from Mars.
So, from trains and city soundscapes to rhythms born out of hands and feet, water and drums, we continue our journey into the past, into our collective memories of Earth, a celebration of sound as music, music as sound, and voices that carry us into the stars. In that vein, a friendly reminder that silence is deadly. If you hear nothing, please report it. General machine noise means we are being kept alive. Speaking of keeping us alive, 2 equals 1. Duplicates are not spares, people. Everything on Mars is duplicated for security, so please do not cannibalize existing tech. If something breaks, head directly to the spares and parts department in Sector 5 to submit your report and apply for official replacements.
Also in der Ferne. Radio Nostalgie.
It's time for our last caller. A senior geologist at Tesla University gives us a slightly different perspective on ecology from his research lab at the South Pole.
思い出エピソードあの頃の記憶古き良き時代の話希望きらめき出来事ラジオノスタルジア from Mars.
As a geologist, it always annoyed me that the color of Earth conservation was green. Seen from space, the majority of the Earth's surface is blue, with the remaining 29% for land. And of that land, deserts make up 1/3 of the land surface area. Sweeping ferns of ochre, rust, and gold. Green! Give me a break. Anyway, as a lifelong acolyte of sun and sand, I'm not up here pining for jungles and wetlands. I yearn for week-long expeditions into the desert, traversing dunes big enough to swallow entire towns in one sideways drift. Oh, to feel that oven-hot wind dry as a bone on my face. There's more dust in my veins than water, I can tell you that much. It astonishes me that people up here are oblivious to the fact that it's our understanding of living in deserts that makes life up here on Mars even possible. The early days of Mars habitation experiments took place in the Gobi Desert and in Hawaii on the side of a barren volcano, not in a protected marshland in the Okavango. You get me? What did the last trees of the Black Forest give us except fuel for our final fires? The desert saved us. Oh, I mean, the irony is not lost on me, but no Sahara, no Amazon, no Gobi, no Mars. Where do you think the Amazon basin was getting all its fertile sand from? Flown over from Africa. That's where. How do we know how to recycle water to near 99% efficiency? The Gobi